Friends, once again, tragically, we have gathered together in response to a terror attack on our brothers and sisters, this time in the Chabad house in Poway, California. We begin this evening in prayer, together, for the healing of Rabbi Yisrael Goldstein, Yisrael ben Chad Priva, the heroic rabbi of his beloved congregation, 8-year-old Noya Eden Dahan, and the courageous uncle, Almog ben Ruti Peretz, both from Sderot, Israel. Above all, for the holy soul of community trailblazer and activist Lori Gilbert Kay, Leah Bat Ruven, Hashem Kendama. To this end, I call upon Rabbi Beryl Mochkin, Regional Director of Chabad Lubavitch, Quebec, to recite Perek Chaf and Kuf Yud Ches of Tehillim, Psalm 20 and 118. Friends, you'll find that on the page before you.
Rabbeinu, oi soveresh ino, eis adimoi oi soveresh ino, beinenu, hayim oso adinoi, nogibo nisbechovei, ono adinoi ishi ono adinoi tzlichono, baruch habo shem adinoi, irachnuchem beis adinoi, eir adinoi mayor Abba beis Leia, Eli Yaakov beideko, Haya beinemeko, eir adinoi kitei,
It's my honor to call upon Rav Yochanan Vosner Skvede Dayan to lead us in Kapitel Kufchaf Aleph, Psalm 121. Rav Vosner.
Shilam halos esvaina leulen, yainu yazri. Yazri mi madrino, yoisai shumayin ules. Adita rabot raglechu, yunim shemechu. Minei lo yunim lo yisham, shoyme yisruel. Adino shemechu, adino yitzuchu. יד ימינך יום השמש לא יכהו וירח בלילה אדינו ישמורכו מכל רוע ישמץ נפשכו אדינו ישמצצכו ויכו מעטו לאדינו
I wish to acknowledge the presence of the following. Mrs. Natu Suissa, Chief Development Officer, Federation CJA, who invested much effort in orchestrating tonight's event. Consul General of Israel, Mr. David Levy, Mr. Sonny Miroz, representing Mr. Anthony Housefather, MP from Mount Royal, Mr. Lionel Perez, City Councilor and Leader of the Opposition, Mr. David Birnbaum, Chairman of the Liberal Party of Quebec, Commander of Station 9 and ensuring our security and safety tonight and going forward with God's help, Louis Olivieri. We have with us tonight the former Commander of Hampstead Public Security, Pietro Poletti, our dear friend Harvey Schaefer, Councillor Hampstead Public Security. And finally, Bagetzi Markowitz, Rabbi of TFS Young Leadership, whose signature can be found in every stage and detail of tonight's event. To share with us words of inspiration and chizuk, I call upon Chief Rabbi of Montreal, Rabbi Yonason Benjamin Weiss.
Montreal, Hayekurim, Hashem Yeshua, Yatzilem. The Navi Yeshayahu writes that Ish Esra'ayu Yazoiru Ve'ochev Yoimar Chazak. There's a time when we have to reach out one to another and to our brothers and to say Chazak. And Chazak, Chazak, Benit Chazek, as we say by the Knesset Torah. Saying Chazak to each other brings Benit Chazek. We get ourselves strengthened. We're here today standing in solidarity with our brothers and sisters in California, sending them a message of our support and hope, and together strengthening our common resolve to continue our spiritual growth our dedication to Torah and mitzvahs, improving ourselves and the world around us. Klal Yisrael will, be'ezras Hashem, overcome this challenge, as we have done countless times before in our long history, and we will emerge even more committed to our timeless heritage of Shmiras HaTorah v'Hamitzvos. Amen. In Tfilas Arvis, the evening prayers, Chazal made it the nusach to complete the bracha of Hashkivenu, and we say, Baruch Atu Hashem Shomer Amo Yisrael. HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem, is the protector of Klal Yisrael forever. But Shabbos Kodesh, Friday evening, we conclude this bracha with a different ending, and we say, why is it so? Why do we have to change the nusach of the bracha, Shabbos Kodesh, Friday night, different than the week? And why are we referring to a sukkah? A sukkah is only once a year. Why every Shabbos do we say, Apoyres Sukkah Shalom, Shalom Aleinu? Now the Mefarshim, the simple explanation is that all week we need a special protection from Hashem. Shomer Amo Yisrael. Shabbos Kodesh is in itself a protection to Klal Yisrael. When Klal Yisrael observes Shabbos Kodesh, this is their protection. So Shabbos Kodesh, we don't have to mention Shomer Amo Yisrael, because Shabbos in of itself is our protection. But the Trozor asks an interesting question. If the reason is that we don't mention Shomer Amo Yisrael at Shabbos because we have the automatic protection of Shabbos, why then do we conclude the bracha and we say, Hashem Yishmer says, and even when it comes to Shabbos? Why do we have to ask? Why do we say Yishmor Tzasenu V'Yenu L'Chaim V'Rishon? Why do we have to beg and pray for Shmira if Shabbos we don't need the Shmira of Hashem? So the Trozor wants to explain and says that the protection which is engendered by Shmira Shabbos is dependent on the level of Shmira Shabbos we have. So each individual needs a special tefillah and a special bracha to be included in the Shmira B'Layla, which is included in the Shabbos Kodesh. But the Montreal brings a very interesting point from Zohar HaKodesh. And the Zohar writes, there are two different levels of protection in Hashemayim. One is the collective protection of Klal Yisrael. Shomer Amo Yisrael. HaKadosh Baruch Hu protects Klal Yisrael from danger which targets Klal Yisrael. But then we need an individual level of protection. That individual level of protection is dependent on Shmir Shabbos and Shmir Mitzvos. So although there's all week we only address the collective protection that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us, when it comes to Shabbos Kodesh, we have to focus on the individual protection. That's why all week we say Shomer Amo Yisrael, that's a collective protection of Klal Yisrael. But when we reach Shabbos Kodesh, we require Sita Shalom Aleinu, on us, on every one of us. There's a special protection from Klal Yisrael, which is dependent on our level of Shmir Torah Mitzvahs. And basically, we see it in the pasuk we just said a few moments ago. Hinai v'yonu v'lo yishav shomer Yisrael. Shomer Yisrael, that's the basis of the nusach. Shomer Amo Yisrael what? But then we go on and say, Hashem shomrechu, which is singular. Hashem shomrechu, Hashem tzivchu al yad yaminechu. Here, the protection of Hashem is compared to the shadow of a person. Hashem Tzilchu. And it's not from the Baal Shem HaKadosh. Hashem Tzilchu. HaKadosh Baruch Hu provides the divine protection dependent like a shadow of a person. The shadow follows the person's actions. If a person stands facing the sun and he moves his hand, the shadow will also move. Hashem Tzilchu, Hashem provides his divine protection dependent on our behavior. So we have here in this pasuk the two levels of protection. And then Hashem Shemrechu, Hashem Tzilchu al Yad Yimineh. So HaKadosh Baruch Hu should help all of us. That we should be zocher to these two levels of protection. The protection, the divine protection from Hashem for Klal Yisrael as a whole, and the individual protection from each and every one of us. And we should be strengthening our dedication to Shmiras Torah mitzvahs, and the Be'ezer Hashem will be zocher to the seal of the pasuk. Hashem Yishmar Tzeitzcho Yevayechu Me'ato Ve'ad Olam Omen V'Omen.
Chief Rabbi Quebec, Rabbi David Sabach, à français, le Chabad.
C'est une soirée qui consiste à réunir nos pensées, à les rassembler, que nos pensées, nos meilleures pensées aillent vers les victimes, ceux qui ont souffert pour n'avoir rien fait, pour le seul fait qu'ils sont juifs. Mais qu'il y a une haine du juif. Mais nous, plus on cherche à nous briser, à nous casser, plus on trouve de réconfort dans Akadosh Baruch Hu et dans la Torah. Ce mois, qui est le mois de la libération, le Talmud dit Motzi Asirim Bakosharot. L'Éternel a fait sortir les prisonniers Bakosharot. On n'a pas trouvé d'explication à ce terme. On a été obligé de l'interpréter de plusieurs manières. Une des manières que je retiens, c'est que le Talmud dit Bakosharot, il faut le diviser Bechi Besharot, des larmes et des chants et des cantiques. Un mois fait de larmes et de chants. C'est un mois qui est comme ça, assez ambigu. C'est un mois où on a perdu 24 000 Talmidim de Rabbi Akiva qui ont été décimés. Mais c'est un mois où le peuple d'Israël a connu des miracles extraordinaires. Le miracle qui eut lieu au temps de Gidon, au temps de Esther et Mordechai. Le deuxième jour de Pessah était la pendaison de Haman. Également, le mois où Akadosh Baruch Hu, alors que Yerushalayim était assiégé par Sanherib, Akadosh Baruch Hu a libéré Yerushalayim et a décimé toutes les armées de Sanherib. Imaginez un petit peu, rien que les chefs de bataillon étaient au nombre de 185 000 chefs de bataillon. Et en une nuit, l'Éternel a décimé tout cela. C'était dans cette période de Homer, dans cette période du mois de Nissan, dans cette période où on culmine vers les hauteurs du miracle, des miracles extraordinaires. Mais c'est aussi le mois où on a connu des tragédies. Parmi les tragédies, celle qu'on vient de dire, de 24 000 de Talmideh, Rabbi Akiva. Et voilà quand le dernier jour, alors qu'il y a des gens qui pleurent, ils scorent leur chair disparue, c'est en ce moment qu'on a voulu encore diriger des armes pour tuer, pour décimer. Mais Akadosh Baruch Hu est là-haut. Comme on vient de dire, Hashem Shmor Tzetecha Boecha, mais ça aurait pu être plus grave. Alors il y a en même temps, en ce moment, et Bechi et Sharot, et des larmes, et de la joie, et des cantiques. Et il ratson que les larmes cessent, que la joie éclate, et que l'on ne parle plus d'incidents comme ça. On ne parle que de la joie, de la réunion, Bimera Biamenu, lorsque le Goël, Amiti, Mashiach, Tzidkenu, apparaîtra. Amen.
Pleasure to call upon Rabbi Mordechai Zeitz, Rabbi Emeritus of Congregation Beth Tikva in Delaware.
Honorable rabbis, distinguished community leaders, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, while my feet stand in Hampstead in Montreal, my heart, my soul, my very neshama, my tears are in Poway. My heart to the family of Lori Gilbert Kay, heavenly angel sent to us from above to bring light, love, care, and concern to make this world a better place. Truly, face it. Years ago, when she was remembered, we're remembering. Years ago, we shall remember. You stand in the family. I stand, an 8-year-old, no other harm. Innocent children throughout the world, mowed down, shot down. A young girl from Sderot, raised with the rockets raining in on Sderot, where she lived, coming for refuge in the United States, symbolic of democracy and freedom. You take it. Very young to the children. She no longer can ask the questions, but we can. As to why. They stand with her heroic uncle, Owen Peretz, with their unbelievable heroism, as he risked life and limb to save the children, protect them. They stand with a true community leader, Yisrael Goldman. True leader who would not cease, as Moshe Rabbeinu would not cease, until he was in one, protecting every single member, every single human being. To stand in solidarity of Jewish communities throughout the world, in Europe, now in North America, the borders of Israel, who unfortunately have to live with fear. Fear never anticipated in this contemporary society. We ask the fifth question, Manishtana, what has changed? What's changed in the world? That we have to gather on such an evening, post Yom Tov, where Yom Tov is no longer Yom Tov, but Yom Tov to remember in terms of terrible acts of cruelty, of hatred, of animosity, attack in the holiest of places, the synagogue on Yom Tov. Too many of us imagine that all you have to do is push a button, it'll all go away, it'll disappear, life will go on. All too often we have accepted violence and hatred and anti-Semitism as the norm. We say prayers. We say prayers. We quote a prayer who says, Shalom Imromav. God who takes care of all things, we all say Shalom, He'll take care of it. Dear friends, tonight on this evening of unity, we ask the question, who says Shalom Imromav? Why is God making peace in His heavenly spheres? It's God. It's angels. Say, Mimini, Michael, Spoli, Gabriel. One side Gabriel, one side Michael. What could be wrong? Oh, say Shalom and Ramah. God has headaches. God has problems. Otherwise, I should be living with angels. I have no problems. Oh, say Shalom and Ramah. What kind of role model is that? What kind of model of peace is that? That's the kind of peace we want. And perhaps we have to understand what that challenge is all about. According to tradition, Gabriel is water and Michael is fire. And you know what happens when you put water and fire together? One eliminates the other. One can't stand the other. One can't stand in the presence of the other. One can't exist in the presence of the other. And what does God do? Well, say Shalom in Ramah. He takes water and fire, and He lets water be water and fire be fire. Each has a purpose. Each has a reason. Each has a determined role to play in the future of humanity. We need water. We need fire. We have to make sure that we understand that and allow each to exist independently, taking the best of all. Who Yaseh Shalom? With a little poetic license, if you allow me, I would say, Oseh Shalom in Mama. God does His thing upstairs. But who? H-O-W. Who, Yaseh Shalom? Who's going to make peace? Who's going to do it? And the answer is, you and I. You and I have the obligation, the responsibility, and the privilege to be the water that irrigates the world in terms of kindness, consideration, love, celebration of life, protection of every single human being. Fire. Fire not only to warm, fire not only to heat, fire not only to bring light to the world, but fire is the singular substance that normally, if I give you something, I have less. But if I give you my fire, my zeal, my love, my care, and my concern, I have it, and you have it, and we have more. Say Shalom in Ramah, God's role model in terms of shleimut, of unity within the world. Hu Yaseh Shalom. We have to produce that. It shouldn't take a tragedy to teach us that lesson. Our hope and our prayer is Hu Yaseh Shalom. You and I will continue to celebrate life, be joyous in life, celebrate life, be a role model in life, contribute to life. Aleinu b'Alkol Yisrael. May we continue to be the beacon, light and ethics and morality of the world as we continue and grow. Tears of pain should be transformed to tears of celebration and joy for the future. Amen.
Amen.
I wish to acknowledge the presence of the Mayor of Code St. Luke, Michael Brownstein, and City Councilors David Torchman and Sidney Ben Ezri. His brothers Yair Slak, Federation, Executive Director of Federation CJA. And to address us this evening, it's my pleasure to call upon Mr. David Amiel, President of Federation CJA, one of tonight's primary co-sponsors.
Rabbis, dignitaries, and community leaders. Unfortunately, I'm standing here tonight, once again, in a short span of 6 months, to convey a message of hope and peace and resilience at a time when it seems that the world has lost its ways. Once again, I, as a parent, had to explain a tragic event to my children, to answer their difficult but important questions as to why this happened again. Je ne vous raconterai pas des horribles événements qui ont eu lieu ce Shabbat. Cependant, nous devons nous rappeler et honorer l'héroïsme de Lori Gilbert Kay, Zichrona Livracha, ainsi que la volonté inébranlable du rabbin Goldstein et de tous les fidèles présents pendant la fusillade. L'appui massif des leaders du monde entier nous rappelle que, bien que l'antisémitisme soit un mal qui ne mourrait jamais, il ne correspond pas au désir de la grande majorité des gens qui ont choisi de coexister en paix avec leurs voisins. Ce geste meurtrier nous touche tous et devrait nous unir dans la poursuite de notre objectif commun. Nous ne permettrons pas que notre monde et le monde de nos enfants soient détournés par les forces du mal. However, choosing to live in a peaceful world requires vigilance. Our small Jewish population has always been among the first targets of religious intolerance. Like the canary in the coal mine, here we are, once again, a warning to the world of how old stereotypes can darken into intolerance, can solidify into hatred, and can erupt into violence. We didn't ask to be cast in this role. Nevertheless, it is part of our duty as Jews to challenge and to expose ignorance before it metastasizes into hate. La protection d'un monde pacifique demande de l'éducation. Aussi, en ce moment même, où nos pensées sont axées sur la tragédie de la fin de la semaine, 239 élèves du secondaire de Montréal sont dans les airs. 239 of our secondary students are in the air right now. En route pour la Pologne. Dans le cadre de la marche des vivants annuels, les drames du siècle dernier. This year's number of students is the largest group Montreal has sent in a decade. The goal of this annual initiative is to teach today's generation about the horrors of the past, to bear witness so that they will be equipped to pass on those lessons to future generations, helping all people of goodwill to remain mindful and never forget. This trip also reminds the participants students, madrichim, and survivors, as well as all those around us, Am Yisrael Chai, that in the face of hatred and evil, the Jewish nation lives. Finally, living in a peaceful world requires action. Federation CJA's communities team is, as always, coordinating with the SPVM and public security departments to increase monitoring and patrol around Jewish institutions. Since the attack in Pittsburgh, Federation CJA has begun working with an elite security team from Israel to audit our Jewish institutions, examining ways to improve and upgrade security throughout the city. In the upcoming months, Federation CJA will be rolling out a security upgrade with partners such as schools, shuls, and other community institutions. This is a Herculean effort and will require an extensive capital investment from across our entire Montreal Jewish community. Malgré les événements, et peut-être même à cause d'eux, nous devons continuer de nous battre pour le droit de vivre en paix, not just for our fellow Jews, but for everyone who chooses peace. We are threatened, but we will not hide. We are heartbroken, but our spirit will not bend. We are angry, but we will not allow a disturbed act of hate to make us hateful. We have been reminded once again of the sting of anti-Semitism, but we hold even firmer to the power of our faith, a faith that has outlasted every attempt to destroy it, and us along with it. Thank you very much.
Our final speaker this evening is Rabbi Saul Emanuel, Director of the Jewish Community Council of Montreal, to whom we all owe a debt of gratitude for helping make this event a reality.
Only a few short days ago, we lifted our glasses, our cups of wine, and we sang out with simcha, with happiness. V'hi she'omdo la'avoseinu v'lonu, she'lo echad bilvad omad oleinu l'chadoseinu, v'HaKadosh Baruch Hu matzileinu biyodom. And it is that stood for us over all the generations. For many tried to finish us off, but the one above saved us from their hands. What is the Vihi? What is the that stood before us in previous generations? We are referring to the Torah. We are referring to true Torah traditions, to its commandments, to its mitzvahs, to the prayers, to the tefillahs. All of those are those things that stood before us and which we have an obligation to continue in every generation. And those will stand us in good stead for generations to come. On the last day of Pesach or Passover, our brothers and sisters were then attacked during Tefillah, during the prayer service itself. As we have maintained over the years, no matter how many of us they've tried to destroy over the generations, they have not succeeded, and they never will. They will not destroy us, nor our will. We must do better, and we must do more. It's incumbent upon every single one of us to ignite the flame within us. We need a revitalization. We need an injection. We need to do more to encourage others to do good. The more they hate, the more we must unite. Let's take upon ourselves to do at least another mitzvah, to make the world a better place, encourage others to do the same. Each and every single one of us know how we as individuals can do better. May Rabbi Goldstein, tremendous communal leader, have a refuah shalema together with those who were injured. May he have the strength to continue to lead his community and to spread true Torah, Yiddishkeit, and Judaism throughout the world. And may the memory of the work of the late Laurie Gilbert Kay be an inspiration to every single one of us. There is so much more that we can do. May the merit of all of us taking on that Vihi, the Torah, its commandments, its traditions, and passing it over to future generations, to our children, grandchildren, and to the entire community, to our neighbors and to our friends. May that bring us all together when the coming of Mashiach with great simcha in Herav Yameinu.
Acknowledge Kotziluk Councillor Judah Berku. I apologize for meeting you earlier. Friends, our sages tell us the world stands on 3 pillars: Torah, prayer, and tzedakah, charity. I encourage you to place a coin or 2 in the tzedakah box before you. To recite the Misha Berach prayer for those injured in the attack and for all those in need of healing. I call upon Rabbi Mark Fishman, spiritual leader of Congregation Petach Tikva, to be followed by Cantor Moshe Shur, will intone the 16th chapter of Tehillim dedicated to the soul of the martyr, Lori Gilbert K. Leah Bat Reuven. Rabbi Fishman.
Kriv Paro and Pharaoh drew close to the Bnei Israel at the sea. Midrash teaches us on Rab Brechia taught that one act of coming close was not necessarily Pharaoh drawing closer, but rather an enemy from without was able to do more than what 100 prayers and 100 fasts were able to achieve. And so it has always been. When there is a Pharaoh from without, we as a community draw closer to one another from within. Our prayer, as I am about to recite the Refuah Shalema Tefillah, is that it should stop taking a Pharaoh from without in an act of hatred beyond, for us to come together closer in an act of true love as a community within. Mishaberach Avotenu Avraham Yitzhak Yaakov Moshe Aaron David Shlomo V'yivarech v'rapeh et hacholim Rav Yisrael ben Chana Frieva Noya bat Eden V'almog Yosef ben Ruti V'avor shekol ha'olam mitpallim ba'avora Yimalei rachamim aleichem Lachlimam, Lachotam, Lachazikam, Lachachiatam. Yishlach lahem mehira, Refuah Shalema Hashemayim. V'toch shachol Yisrael, Refuah HaNefesh, Refuah HaGuf. Hashta, V'agala b'zman karev v'na'amah. May he who blessed our fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Moses and Aaron, David and Solomon, may he bless and heal the sick among our people, Rav Yisrael, and Chana, Friva, Noya, daughter of Eden, Almog Yosef, son of Ruti. May the Holy One, blessed be He, be filled with compassion for them, to restore them to health, to heal them, and to strengthen them. May He send them speedily a complete and full recovery from heaven, among all of the other sick of our people, the recovery of the body, and the recovery of the spirit, swiftly and soon. And let us respond. Amen.
And to acknowledge Hampstead councillors Michael Goldbacks and Jack Yeddery, Chicago.
Hallelujah.
Friends, may God grant that next time we come together, be in celebration, joy, simcha, the greatest celebration, in gathering of our people in our holy land, be united forever. Friends, let us resolve to leave tonight, quoting Rabbi Goldstein, who quoted from Scripture, "A little light banishes much darkness." Let us resolve, as we are hated for no reason other than we exist, let us resolve to love each other for no reason other than you are. No one needs to earn or deserve it. Each one of us created in the image of God. Let us love unconditionally and absolutely. Let us resolve, bearing in mind where this tragedy took place. Laura, founder, activist, lived a life devoted to others. I appeal especially to the women, perhaps, to undertake, if you don't already light the Shabbat and Yom Tov candles, inspire another Jewish woman or girl to do so. Add physical light, which is truly divine and spiritual light. Friends, it isn't enough. It just isn't enough to come here, perhaps shed a tear, go back home to our ordinary lives. This must spur us all to action. The action is Jewish unity, another mitzvah, and another mitzvah. Together, we will illuminate the world, banish darkness forever, and welcome in and herald the era of eternal peace that we all yearn, dream, and hope for. Amen. Thank you all for coming. My services will begin momentarily.